Neighbors tried to label me a prostitute because I was sexually active. I lived in Melbourne, Australia for about a year 2013 to 2014. There, I met a gorgeous same-sex couple. Brian and Derek. Name changed. They were both bisexual. They lived in the same building as me on the floor directly above mine. I soon entered into a sexual relationship with both of them. We would have threesomes, and sometimes gangbangs. Besides the awesome sex, I also became really good friends with them, and we are still in touch. It was tons of fun for all involved. Among my neighbors, were a middle-aged couple with 2 children. They lived right across the hallway from me and were quick to judge us after seeing Brian and Derek exiting my apartment early in the morning on more than one occasion. The woman, Karen, asked me in the elevator what I was doing with those 2 gays. I politely told her it was none of her business. When she kept on pestering me, I told her, if you must know, I am friends with benefits with them. Now leave me alone. I still remember the look of shock on her face. I do not think she expected me to reply so brazenly. When I told Brian and Derek about this, they shared their own experience in dealing with them. This couple was rather homophobic too and had tried to talk to the property manager about the fags moving into a building with families and children. They were told to duck off, just not in so many words, but anytime either or both of these guys were in the elevator with them, or ran into them in the parking lot, the husband, let us call him Todd, would stand between them and his kids while giving Brian and or Derek angry looks. Must have been trying to prevent their kids from catching the gay. LOL. Multiply 200b. In the weeks that followed, the entitled couple continued to give me the stink eye anytime they saw me. I just smiled back at them sweetly, which pissed them off even more. On one occasion, their teenage daughter said good morning to me and tried to make small talk, before her mother dragged her away by the arm, while berating her for talking to that woman. Interestingly, their kids seemed very well behaved and nice, and I truly felt sorry for them. My next-door neighbors, another couple with kids with whom I got along very well, later told me that them had tried to get them to file a noise complaint against me. According to MS Logic, since I shared a wall with that family, they could probably hear all the ungodly noises coming from my apartment and they should complain in order to protect their children. The nice couple told them they would do no such thing, as I had never bothered them and they had never heard any such noises coming out of my apartment. One night, Brian, Derek and I decided to have a foursome that would involve the 3 of us and Brian and Derek's friend Dean. The next morning, Dean asked if he could come back to my place with me, as it was a Sunday morning and Dean was hotter than hell. I agreed. As he and I were walking down the hallway to my place, Karen was just getting out of hers. She saw Dean and I smiling and talking in his arm around my waist and approached me, asking angrily if I was being a whore and selling my body. I told her she was insane and asked her to kindly duck off. Later that day, I received a call from the property manager. She wanted to let me know that Karen and Todd had complained that I was a prostitute and that it was dangerous for their children to be in the same building as me. They told her in great detail about how I was bringing home different men. The property manager had gotten to know Brian and Derek quite well and had an inkling that I was friends with them, so she contacted them and they told her all about the EP's crazy behavior and accusations, and that the man they had seen me with was a mutual friend. There was no prostitution going on. The property manager dissuaded EP from filing any sort of false complaint against me, as it could cause a world of trouble for them. I thanked that kind lady and later had a good chuckle over it all with Brian and Derek. The blatant harassment from Karen and Todd had stopped, but of course, the hateful looks continued. On one occasion, when we were in the elevator together, Karen made a pathetic attempt at shaming me by condescendingly asking if I was going to have any men over that night. What she did not realize is that shame about my promiscuity is something I am entirely incapable of feeling. I proceeded to tell her in great detail about all the sex acts I was going to engage in that evening. I mean, she is the one who asked, right? After this fun little interaction, she and her husband avoided me completely. Good times. I would have just said ask your husband, then the neighbors would have really had to file a noise complaint on account of her banshee-like screams. Yeah, angering a Karen in a confined space is not good for your eardrums. It is fun to watch though, as long as there is nothing throwable in range and she just had her nails done and does not want to damage them. Shrug. Some people just cannot cope with other people having better sex lives than they do, or actually having sex, or a life. Look, just because I cannot cope with it does not mean I will go around being a dick to others. I will just not cope with it all by myself. Thank you very much. I mean, yes, I go around being a dick to others, but only from the safety of my home and computer screen, not in a hallway with actual people. I remember when I finished senior year of high school, a new neighbor was convinced I was a drug dealer. I was home all day, was recovering from the overload of high school. There were also the cases of houses being robbed yet not broken into. Nope, I have to be a drug dealer. He changed the light bulb on the light outside his door to a floodlight bulb, played Christian music loud as duck. Whenever the ducker saw me, he would ask, "What drugs am I selling today?" I am Polly, and I live in a cluster of townhomes. One of my neighbors consists of two elderly women, a mother in her 80s, and a daughter in her 60s who are often high. We do not really interact, but they are the most kindly ladies ever. When they were repaving the parking lot, they came to wake us up to remind us to move our car. They only did this for some folk. They said the others were assholes to them. Recently, we had a new neighbor move in, and he was complaining that I was cheating on my partners with each other, because he had seen me see my wife, girlfriend, and boyfriend off to work with kisses and butt slaps throughout the morning. Listening to these two ladies explain my situation, and then become irate and start shouting at him when he refused to accept that it was all on the up and up, caused me a great deal of good feelings. And that is the story that caused me to learn how to prepare baklava for the two wonderful little stoner ladies next door-ish. That is so wholesome. I need neighbors like these. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.